From August 7 to 12, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited South Africa, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, and Rwanda. It was a geopolitical visit to Africa, as the U.S. seeks to increase its influence on the continent amid the resurgence of old powers and the entry of new powers, all seeking the support of African states in global affairs. Blinken's visit followed junkets by leaders of several global powers who have been planning alliances in and with Africa. A look back at some of the most recent visits can help you understand the crowded alliance-building developments to which the U.S. is attempting to respond in an increasingly multipolar world. Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan visited the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, Senegal, and Guinea-Bissau in February. For nearly a decade, Turkey's foreign policy toward the continent has been dubbed Strategic Africa, and it has focused on all aspects of bilateral relations and opportunities for improved cooperation. This has boosted Turkey's foreign policy strategy toward Africa, which emphasizes collaboration and development. As a result, between 2015 and 2018, Turkey increased bilateral trade more than five-fold. French President Emmanuel Macron has visited the continent several times. He visited Benin, Guinea-Bissau, and Cameroon in July of this year, 2022. France's trip provided an opportunity to cement relations between France and Africa against the background of France's colonial and neo-colonial legacy in Africa. Macron's trip to Africa was his first outside of Europe since his re-election in April, signaling the continent as a political and economic priority. In July, Chinese leaders traveled extensively to Africa. For example, Yang Jiechi, a former Chinese foreign minister and Politburo member of the Communist Party of China, visited Zimbabwe in early July, a country considered a pariah by the West. Su Jinghu, China's special representative for African affairs, then traveled to Burundi, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Congo-Brazzaville, Namibia, Madagascar, Mauritius, and Seychelles. The running thread in these visits is that China is focused on helping Africa with economic development rather than focusing on political issues such as human rights and democracy. While Macron's visit may reduce America's influence on the continent, it does not pose a significant threat to its interests because France and the U.S. share many values that they seek to promote in Africa. The visit of Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in July raises the stakes in terms of geopolitical clashes on the continent. In July 2022, Lavrov visited Egypt, the Republic of Congo, Uganda, and Ethiopia. Throughout the trip, Lavrov centered the Russian message on Africa's support for Russia's military action in Ukraine. The trip was intended to demonstrate Africa's support for Russia in the face of sanctions imposed by Western countries and their allies in Asia, Latin America, and Oceania. Emphasizing the alignment of Russian and African interests in the global system, Lavrov also used the trip to Africa as an opportunity to rally support for Russia's invasion of Ukraine and ensure that Russia is prepared for the Russia-Africa Summit in 2023. Other high-level state visits to Africa reflect a shifting geopolitical landscape in which Africa is persuaded to take sides and global powers seek political and economic opportunities on the continent. There are more examples of high-level visits to the continent by leaders of powerful countries seeking to influence the continent on the global stage or to strike economic deals. It is clear that Blinken's visit was closely monitored by foreign policy strategists in Ankara, Moscow, Paris, Beijing, and Brussels. So, what did Blinken's visit mean for the United States, Africa, and the rest of the world? First, the United States' engagement with Africa has ebbed and flowed over time, with periods of high-level engagement alternating with periods of low-level engagement. For example, because Africa was a low priority during Donald Trump's presidency, the Joe Biden administration is starting from scratch in terms of establishing a diplomatic mechanism. Scholars and officials have frequently lamented the lack of a clear U.S. policy toward Africa as a barrier to the U.S. effective, consistent, and long-term engagement with the continent. One of the most closely watched aspects of the U.S. return to Africa is Blinken's announcement of a new policy toward Africa. Second, it is clear that the United States is no longer the only global power with significant interests in Africa. African officials and politicians are aware of this fact and have been looking for ways to counter other powers, particularly Russia and China, which are geopolitical rivals. As a result, the visit can be read through competitive lenses. China has maximized its efforts in Africa by framing relations as an equal partnership, with phrases like mutual support strengthening, community of shared future, and all-round cooperation frequently used. Third, it is in Africans' best interests to become acquainted with the new U.S. policy toward Africa. One could argue that Biden's foreign policy toward Africa should address the continent's concerns and needs because some of his key personnel have first-hand experience with African state and non-state member policymakers. Indeed, Blinken's visit and the new policy came at a time when the Biden administration announced a U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit in December this year in Washington, D.C. It would be prudent for African countries to conduct an in-depth analysis of the new policy and respond substantively prior to and during the December summit. Thanks for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories.